Hey YouTube, David here. Uh, we're going to do another video tonight. This one also is going to tick some people off. You're not going to like this. We are going to be talking about some stuff that's in the ninth book. We're going to be talking quite a bit about stuff that's in the ninth book, even though it's not published yet. I'm going to go ahead and say this now. You're going to give this video a thumbs up, share it, comment if you want. And I know there will be a lot of negative comments on this video if people actually watch the video, because nobody really watches these videos. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you, in the ninth book, the two hardest lessons, and there's a couple other lessons that I learned throughout, that I show in the ninth book, but the ninth book contains two of the hardest lessons I've ever had to go through. And these are not moderate lessons. Yes, I was betrayed by Judas. Judas is a female this time, not a man. Told you all, male, female, all the same, all are part of the body of Christ. This woman, we'll talk about that in a bit. But then there was the hardest part. Was I had to find out that my own daughter didn't love me. I mean, she loves me as long as it's convenient for her. But when it's not convenient for her, no, the love's not there. And that's one thing I guess I forgot to show, and that I wanted to do in this video. Let's see here. I'm just going to do this right here. Okay, right there. Philippians 2:21. I didn't use the right wording. For all seek their own, not the things which are of Jesus Christ. Everybody, I'm going to do this. Just search own gain. There we go. Proverbs. So are the ways of every one that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of owners thereof. Proverbs 1:19. Let's see here. Yeah, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they, Isaiah 56:11. Yeah, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, every one for his own gain, from his quarter. What this video does, what the ninth book does, and it actually comes from the eighth book too, because in the eighth book there's there's 3 chapters in the book of living life with one another, living life with God the Father, living life with Jesus. Okay, what this video and what the 8th and 9th book actually do, and I had no idea when we wrote those 3 chapters in the 8th book, we're going to lead into the 9th book. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. But what those 2 books actually show is how this world has no love for one another. This love has no love for God the Father. And how this world has no love for Jesus. Yes, I said it. This world loves themselves. And as soon as anything becomes inconvenient for them, when it comes to loving others, that love is not there. True love is willing to go through anything and everything, no matter the circumstances, with the other. So many of you all claim you love God, but yet don't want to learn anything of Him. So many of you all claim to love Jesus. Now, I talked about this in the video I did last night on the two greatest commandments. Thou shalt love God with all of thy heart, soul, and mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second, which is like the first, I'm paraphrasing, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all of the law and prophets. Now, to verify that I'm not just putting words in what I want to say, let's see. I don't know exactly where it is, so you're going to see it live how I do this. Where in the Bible does it talk about the two greatest commandments? Matthew 22, 36 through 40. This is the way I have to look it up all the time. So we're going to do this real quick so you know that I'm not, I know, like I told you in the last video, and I've told you in other videos, yes, I know the Bible better than anybody, but I have to always look up things because my mind is all over the Bible. It's 2,000 pages, okay? My mind is all over the Bible at all times. So for me to focus on, to know exactly, in fact, you know what I'm going to tell you, and I can't remember. I've written so many books, I can't remember. I'm wanting to say it was the second book. There was a time after I got called to the Bible and after I started seeing things that others can't see. Oh, now I forgot where I was. Matthew 22, 36 through 40. So we got to go down here to 36. Okay, 36. Master, which is... No, hold on. I got this brought up here real quick. Let me highlight it so I can remember to talk about it. But years ago, and like I said, I think I talk about it in the second book, maybe in the first. See, I've written so many books, I can't remember exactly where I put everything. Okay, but I told you, I explained this to you. At one time, I actually felt like I needed to do like a lot of these other ministries. I don't listen to them, okay, but way back when I used to, okay, and I thought, well, you know what, I need to memorize where certain things are, and yes, if I focus on one particular message like I did on Coast to Coast, about how showing that the Bible is not a history book, it was written for our lives. That's written for our learning. It's about our lives. That's Romans 15:4. 2 Timothy 3:16, 2 Peter 1:21, 1 Corinthians 3:16. We the temple of God, and then John. I remember certain things like that. If I focus on those, but once I focus on that, and then I get to a different section, like right there, I had no intention of talking about the two greatest commandments tonight. I had no intentions of proving or showing you all that I'm not just repeating words to you, that I'm actually speaking of what the Bible says. Okay, but if I'm not then focusing on that particular spot of the Bible, I have to look it up. I know what it says, but I don't remember exactly where it says. And the Father told me years ago when I used to think that, okay, I should memorize all this stuff. And the Father literally told me, he says, if you do that, you're going to focus more on remembering everything instead of listening to what it's saying. That's why I don't try to go out of my way to make it a point, I got to remember this, because I'm not here to impress you all. I'm going to tell you that right here, right now. I'm not here to impress you all. I know the Bible. I know it better than anyone on this planet. I'll guarantee there's no one that can show me something in this Bible that I haven't seen or heard. But I'll guarantee you, I can show anybody that studied the Bible all of his life. I'll guarantee you I will show him that things he's never heard, or seen, even though he's looked at it every day of his life. I'll guarantee it, because I listen to our Father. And regularly so, I'm sitting on the right side of God the Father, right now in the heavenly place, blue and white. Explain this in the videos, explain this in the books. Alright, now, why not show you that the two greatest commandments, Matthew 22, 36 to 23. No, 22. Matthew 22, 36 through 40. Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love thy Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all of thy heart, and with all of thy soul, and with all of thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments, clear that out, right here. On these two commandments hang all of the law and prophets. How can you understand what these two commandments are if you won't do as I say or Jesus says, however you want to look at it? You claim to love Jesus, but you won't do what he's telling you to do right here. He's literally telling you, you need to go and learn what the law and the prophets are saying. But no, you're not going to do that, because that's not convenient for you. You might have to alter some things in your life if you do what Jesus tells you to do, or I tell you to do. Okay? You know, now, I guess maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Today I'm friends with a family in the Philippines. And yes, this family has told me that they will be my somewhat tour guides when I go over there, back over there at the end of the month. I told you in the last video, I'm going over there at the end of November. All right, but when she called me today, and we talked for quite a while, and I didn't realize it. You know, over these last couple of weeks, I've been dealing with these two hardest lessons that I had to go through fairly well, because I've been focusing on a lot of other things. You know, I was telling you last night that I'm very busy. You know, I'm trying to learn Cebuano at the same time. I don't know, something about Mary today, she was feeling emotional, and she just felt like talking about stuff, about how she didn't have a dad, and how blessed my daughter is to have a dad, and she, you know, but, you know, this brought back a lot of things that were in the 9th book. And, you know, my daughter, my baby girl, my pride and joy, I've got 5 children, and I've got 4 boys, and my daughter is the youngest, and out of all of them, and I'm giving you a little what's in the 9th book, okay, but of all boys, I always wanted a girl. I just, you know, I always wanted a little girl, and she's always been my baby girl. You know, Kathy and I split up in 09, her mother, okay, and so forth. We had our visitations and whatnot. That was the original reason why I started to take my life, because Kathy and I split up, and my one daughter that I always wanted was taken out of my life, just like the 4 boys that I had prior to that marriage had been taken out of my life. Well, we split up after, you know, I took her out on the road with me in 2013. You know, I tried to be there. I'm a truck driver. You know, we had our visitations, you know, and I've been doing all kinds of things. When I could go through there, I'd always stop by. And anyway, to make a long story short, I've been paying her rent every month this year. Told her in June that told her sometime in June that I think the Father's telling me I'm going to stop sending you money. I wound up stop sending her. I finally didn't make the first rent pay her rent for the first time in September of this year, and I wound up sending $400 to Judas in the Philippines, because Judas was telling, you know, that's a whole nother story, okay, but because I sent $400 to Judas, and I didn't pay her rent that month, even though I'd been paying it all year long and making her car payments all year long, gave her the down payment for her car payment, sold my Harley Davidson that I had. She got 100% of the money for her new car and everything. But because I sent that $400 to Judas, she wound up saying I didn't love her, and she was tired of me putting other women in front of her. And the way the Father explained to me is, David, she doesn't love you enough to go through life with you. Well, we was talking about Judas today too, and I'm just going to call her Judas. I do use her real name her real first name in the 9th book. I call her Mary in the 8th book. In the 9th book, I use her real first name only. That way it can't be proven that it's her specifically. And I do her, but the whole, this brought up memories. We was talking about this stuff with Judas, and oh my gosh, this woman, from the second time I talked to her, told me she was a single mom struggling to make ends meet. And come to find out, September 5th, I was shown in an abrupt way that she's never been a single mom. The whole time we've been talking. And she hasn't ever had a hard time making ends meet. But she was playing this ploy on me this whole time, making me feel guilty, making me feel, because she was telling me she was a single mom with a 5-year-old girl at the time. She's 6 now, and she was 4 when we first started talking. But she's telling me this is making me more compelled to want to help her out. So, I'm doing just that, trying to help out, and it was shown to me in an abrupt way, and you have to read the book to find out how. But I was shown in a distinctive way that she's never been single, she's with a man. I've actually met the man. When I was over there last year, I've met the man. But both of them together made me think that she was a single mom struggling to make ends meet. It's just, oh my gosh. Well, Mary and I were talking about all this today. It brought up a lot of feelings. I thought I'd been doing good. I thought maybe I was doing all right, but I was wrong. So I told the Father, I said, you know what? I think I'm going to do a video tonight. And I went back and forth on this for a while. I said, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to show these people that they don't love one another. They don't love God, the Father, and they don't love Jesus. Okay? Now, in the last chapter of the 9th book, this book, the 9th book, really explains, I told you the name of it, the life and betrayal of Jesus. By the way, I did only say that part of it last night. On the bottom, this is why I know this is the last book. And because I'm so fed up with this, we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. Right? But I'm so fed up with being rejected, I can't write anymore. I'm done writing. Why write any more when you all won't even read what I've already written? I would actually literally have to take the first book, put it inside the second book, put that second book now inside the third book, put the third. I'd have to put all the books into one. I would literally have if I was to write another one, I would literally write a book 2,000 pages long. You all won't even watch my videos half the length of them. How in the world are you going to read a 2,000 page? You won't even read the Bible. You don't care about our Father enough to actually listen to what He's been saying since the beginning of time. Yes, you're getting to hear the raw meat. I am so fed up with this. You all don't listen to these videos. You all don't give a crap about anybody but yourselves. Nobody but yourselves. If it inconveniences you in any way, you don't want anything to do with that. That's why you all don't read the book. That's why you all don't listen to these videos. You listen to them for 15. I've got 40 views on that video I made last night. The duration, the average view time, that video is an hour and 17 minutes long, I think it is. The average view time on that is 19 minutes. 19 minutes. Because it doesn't matter to you. Well, this is where you're all getting ready to find out. Yeah, it does matter. I'm at the point, I'm not going to show this in the scriptures, but I'm at the point, I don't care if anybody raises with me. I've risen from the dead. But you all have rejected me for so long, so hard, that I've grown numb. I don't care if you rise. I've told the Father more times than I can count. Take me out of this world. Let me save my own soul. And I won't show it where it says it in the scriptures. It says it a couple, 3 times. Just like Noah, Job, and Daniel. They only save their own souls. Let me go. Take me out of this world. I don't care. Now, I will go ahead and show this real quick. We're just going to go to Matthew 7. We're just going to jump down to verse 12 as soon as my mobile data gets kicking in here. Another one. Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do unto you, do ye even unto to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Another time, Jesus is telling you to learn the law and the prophets. But, that doesn't matter to you all. Because that's an inconvenience for you. You have no love for God. You have no love for Jesus. And, like my daughter, I expect that means many don't have love for one another. They will love them as long as it's inconvenient, or as long as it's convenient for them. That's why the divorce rate is so high in this country. Because there is no love for the other one. That love is for yourself. And you'll love them as long as it doesn't inconvenience you or make you do something different in your life. That's not a love for others. That's a love for yourself. That's what these books teach. Everything about the Bible is learning how to love everybody. Love God the Father first. He comes first in all aspects. Then, when you learn of the Father, He teaches you how to love everyone else. But you know what? There's a rock and roll song, and I can't think of who sings it, but it's called Numb. Yes, I listen to rock and roll. Who sings the rock and roll song called Numb?
The rock song
Linkin Park.
by Linkin Park, released in 2000.
Yeah. I've grown numb. See there, Matthew 7:12. Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do unto you, do ye so to them. Y'all have rejected me for so long, I don't care if the Father takes me out of here, and I don't care if one person rises with me. I get an eternal life of perfection with Him. Because, and this is what we show in the last chapter of the book, since 2011 when He called me to the Bible, I chose to go through this life with Him. And I'm stuck to it all the way up until now. And I'm still going through life with Him. I will not dishonor Him. I will not eat the unclean. I will not stop celebrating birthdays and holidays. Or I will not start celebrating birthdays and holidays again. I'm so aggravated. And I think maybe that's part of the reason why I wanted to make this video. Maybe if I just vent, maybe I'll wake up in a better mood. I'm hoping. Okay? I won't start doing this stuff again. I've stuck to it. Because I want his perfection. I'm seeking his perfection. He's perfect. None of us are. He is. And I'll be made perfect in the next world. Anyway, okay. Now let's go ahead and I want to back up here. And once again, there's the website, davidofpsalm89.com. Download any and all of the books. Prefer you start with book 1. That's the milk. If you can't come into agreement with book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, none of them are going to make any sense of you. You're going to reject any of the other books. If you can't come into agreement in that book. Now, some things that are talked about in that first book is how we shouldn't eat the unclean. I don't care if you think that it's okay to eat it. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to Leviticus 11 real quick. And I'm going to show you what the Father said right there in the second verse. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among the beasts that are on the earth. Then he mentions the clean. Then he talks about the unclean. And he says the unclean is not for us to eat. So in retrospect, this is explained in the book, in retrospect, he's actually saying in verse 2, the unclean is not food. Don't eat it. This is the tree in the midst of the garden. To prove that, let's go to Isaiah 66. Okay? This is what I did the video of the clean and unclean. This is the one thing I forgot to show because I got wrapped up in Isaiah 65 and Leviticus 10 about how the smoke in a nostril and in God's nostrils and so forth, and how Aaron's 2 sons, God consumed them with flames because they created a flame that he commanded them not. So I want to go to Isaiah 66, and I want to show you about how people today, remember, this is not a history book, this is a lesson book. It's all of our school lessons in one book. So it's down here toward the end of the chapter. Let's see here. Maybe it's gotta look for it real quick. Maybe it's in the, oh yeah, verse 17, is it? Yeah, verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine flesh and the abomination, and the mouth shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. That's the tree in the midst of the garden we are not to eat from. Show you all this in the second book. Show you all this. This is the tree in the midst of the garden. All those things in Leviticus 11, the unclean thing, that's a tree of life that we're not supposed to eat from. All the unclean things. All right, now, many think that I am coming here and I'm going to rapture people out of here and all this other good stuff. You all do not realize I do not come to bring peace. I'm not here to make things easy for you. No. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. Think not that I come to send peace on the earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against their mother, and her daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be, get that out there, they of his own household. Let's go over here to the book of, I believe it's Luke. Luke 12:49. I am come to send fire upon the earth. And what will I, if it already be kindled? But I have a baptism to be baptized with. And lo, and how am I straitened till it be accomplished? Now, I'm going to pause right there. When I walked out into the wilderness in 2016 and gave up my life, I call that, I refer to that many times in a lot of the books, that was the baptism of the Holy Ghost. Now, I'm going to go back, I'm not going to get rid of this, but I'm going to actually show in Luke 3 where Jesus was baptized with. Well, let's see here. It's actually saying that I was about 30 years old when I was baptized. And Jesus, verse 23, and Jesus himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, as was supposed, the son of Joseph, which was the son of Eli. Okay, and it goes over all that. Now, March 8th, 2016 was 20 days shy of 30 years later of March 28th, Good Friday, 1986, I walked out into the wilderness to be baptized with the Holy Ghost or to lay down my life after giving everything away. Now we go back to this one, saying, but why in Luke 12? Okay, we heard that Jesus was baptized in Luke 3. Okay? But we go to Luke 12, verse 50, but I have a baptism to be baptized with. See, now in 2011, when the Father called me to the Bible, yes, I got baptized. I talked about this in the book. I got baptized in the church by water. And then I started pointing out to the congregation that the teacher was teaching what was not in the Bible. At that time, the pastor asked me to leave. He put his hand on my shoulder and he says, you can either be quiet or you can leave. I threw it and grabbed my daughter. Like I said, Kathy and I were already split up, but I had visitation every other weekend, so my daughter would go to church with me every other weekend, back when I used to go to church. Back at that time, I thought the pastor kicked me out of church. Then I explained it in the second book, that was actually the Father kicking me out of the church. That was the Father saying, get out of the church because they teach manfully. You know what? Now I'm going to do this. I'm going to actually go think. You know what? I think this is Psalm 47. Okay? And I'm going to just talk about all of you all that go to church think you're doing right. Let me show you what. Let me see. Is it 47 or is it 41? Let me ask. Where in the book? Where in the book of Psalm does it say those that keep holy day, God gets quiet?
Psalms don't directly state that God becomes quiet when people observe holy days.
Yes, he does.
However, passages like Psalm chapter 22, 50, and 83 do address God's seeming silence or
Psalm 50? I thought it was 47. Let me go to 50 here. You know what? Here, a better way to do this, holy day. See, like I told you all, this is the way I have to do it. I know what the Bible says, I just don't know exactly where it's always said. Now we go over here to the book of Psalms. Okay, or if they got holy day as one word. There it is, right there. Psalm 42, my bad. All right, verse 4. Let me read. Let's read verse 4 and 5. When I remember these things, I pour out my soul in me. For I had gone with the multitude, I went with them to the house of God, with the voice of joy and praise, with the multitude that kept holy day. What are you doing when you go to church on Sunday? Or what are you doing when you go to church on Saturday? Or, oh, this is supposed to be God's day. That's referred to all the time. Let's read verse 5. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted in me? Hope thou in God, for I shall praise him for the help of his countenance. He kicked me out of the church because the church teaches the ways of this world. The church teaches the ways of man, not of him. How do you think I've learned all this? I've been out here being taught by him, not man. I don't listen to ministers anymore because they all say it's okay to do all these holidays and birthdays when God never tells us of anybody's birthday in the Bible. We're never told anybody's birthday. Nobody's birthday is in the Bible. Nobody. The birthdays are talked about, yes. But we're never given anybody's birth date. Now, when the birthdays are talked about in the Old Testament and in the New Testament, both times that kings it talks about them celebrating their birthdays, they both made dinner for all of their servants on their birthday. They did for others on their birthday. Nobody did for them. Yes, in the New Testament, King Herod, his daughter danced for him, but also requested the head of John via her mom, wanted the head of John on a platter. And it even states reluctantly, he was reluctant, but he did it for the oath's sake. Doing for others on your birthday, not having others do for you. He went ahead and had John beheaded for his daughter via her mother. We're not told about anybody's birthday. Definitely not told about Jesus' birthday. But yet everybody says, oh, December 25th is his birthday. No, it's not. Everybody on the planet is part of the one Son of God, so his birthday's every day of the year. My birthday's not in December, nor in January. It is in February. I'll tell you that. If y'all are going to do your research, you can figure it out. But I'm not going to tell you the day. Because I won't do anything for my birthday. Nor anyone else's. Anyway, get back to where we was here. We already read verse 50. Verse 51, suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth? I tell you nay, but rather division. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father. The mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother. The mother-in-law against the daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. I don't come to bring peace. In this 9th book, which the 8th book leads into it, actually shows everyone. Most only love themselves. They'll love you as long as it's convenient for them. But as soon as it becomes inconvenient for them, that love's not there. Now, loving God, the Father, how can you say you love God the Father if you don't want to learn about Him? If you're not willing to go through Him? Yes, this is what the last chapter in the 9th book actually shows. That chapter is called True Love. Okay? And he was showing that chapter. First time I read the Bible, I stopped eating the unclean. But as soon as I started reading the Bible for the second time, I stood up in my office chair and I told the Father, I says, you know what, Father, you never told us to celebrate holidays or birthdays. So I quit. Immediately. Not just for myself, for everybody. I will not, under any circumstances, honor anybody's birthday. Why? Because our Father never told us to. I won't celebrate any of these man-made holidays. When I was going through the laws of Moses, yes, I tried to keep the holy days listed in Leviticus 23. Okay? I tried to hold those days by man's terms. I would have to listen to certain things and find out when the certain holy days were, and then when these holy days, what man interpreted as being the holy days, would come about, and it says, thou shalt not work on certain days. I lost a couple jobs because of that, but I never went without. I trusted the Father to keep me going, and He did. Anyway, now, I'm going to show Deuteronomy 4:2. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Now, I know a lot of people think this means changing the words to the Bible. What are you doing if you don't listen to everything that the Father's saying and you don't actually comprehend that He never told you to celebrate birthdays or these man-made holidays, and you're celebrating them? You're telling Him, because you're adding to what He said. He never told you to do it, but you do it anyway. You're actually telling Him spiritually, Father, I need more than your perfection so I can feel good. You're adding to His word. He didn't command you to do it. Stop. Don't do it. And what brought all this up today? When I was talking with Mary, it brought up some harsh feelings about stuff going on with Judas, stuff going on with my daughter, and we're talking back and forth about this and so forth, and and I was telling her, I thought Judas was going to be the reason, because Judas is the hook in my jaw talked about in the 8th book. Okay? Get me to go back over to the Philippines to finish fulfilling the scriptures. So I thought, maybe once I went back over there, she was going to be the reason I went back over to the Philippines. And because she always portrayed to me that she was a single parent struggling to make ends meet, I thought for sure there was a possibility that her and I were going to be a couple over there. That was going to be part of my reward. I was good with that. I haven't been with anybody in 10 years. Okay? So for me to sit here and think about that, and her constantly telling me she was a single parent struggling to make ends meet, for me to go over there and share the love that the Father has given me, taught me to give everyone, I thought that was a possibility. So, but all this brought up so many emotions and so forth. I was telling Marius, I don't think, and I got thinking about it. It's like, being how I found out that she's actually Judas and she betrayed me like she did. It's like, I was telling her that I had gotten on a couple dating sites trying to see if I could find another woman, because I need a reason to go back over to the Philippines. And it's kind of like, I don't really have a reason to go back over there. Yes, I'm going back over there in November, and mainly because I feel like I'm supposed to be out of the country December 1st. But Mary was saying, you got a reason to come back over here. She was telling me about her children, and she's got beautiful children. Yes, she does. 7-year-old daughter and 1-year-old boy. And yes, they're adorable. And she was saying, these are your new family. And after we got off the phone, as she was saying that, I was thinking, but you're never going to give up the birthdays and holidays. You're never going to give up the unclean. And you're not going to teach your kids the ways of God, then you're going to teach your children the ways of the world, as you already have and already do. What happened? Okay, that was weird. But anyway, throughout the rest of the day, it's just like, I started talking and started questioning everything with the Father. It's like I said, today's been a really hard day for me. And it's like, why are you even sending me back over to the Philippines? There are many languages over there. Cebuano is like the second or third most famous language over there. Tagalog is before it. And from my understanding, there's like 100 different languages in the Philippines. Yes, some do speak English, but I do remember last year when I was over there, we went to Taiwan, there was a majority of people that didn't speak English, and they spoke Tagalog instead of Cebuano. But it's like, why am I going over there? Because they all eat the unclean. They all celebrate birthdays and holidays. And it's like, and it's not going to be any different. In most aspects, it's going to be worse over there than it is over here, because at least here, y'all speak English. And it's kind of like, I can't come back down to the ways of the world. I'm not leaving the Garden of Eden. I'm not going to start eating from the tree in the midst of the garden. I'm not gonna eat the unclean things. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna start celebrating birthdays and holidays, adding to what God said. So it's kind of like, why are you sending me back over there? Yes, that's where he tells me I'm going to walk on water. That's where I'm going to calm the waves down, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, I'm going to be in a boat with a bunch of people that don't speak my language. That's why I'm trying to learn Cebuano. But what if they don't speak Cebuano? It's just like, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's just, and I just don't see how I'm going to get people over there to start listening to what I'm saying when I think the majority of them can't understand what I'm saying in the first place. They get the point I'm trying to get across. Yes, I'm going. Last night I was talking about, in the video I did last night, I was talking about the government shutdown and so forth. And yes, as of Friday, the FAA is cutting 10% of the flights from 40 different airports. But it does not interfere with international flights. So the only flight I got to worry about is I've got one link. I'm taking off from Salt Lake City, and I'm going to another airport here in the United States to get on the plane that's going to Tokyo. Once I get to Tokyo, then I connect on my other plane going over to Cebu. So I don't think I'm going to have that much of a problem, because it's the hub to hub. So from Salt Lake City to LA should be okay. Because it's the hub to hub. And the long distance, the way it doesn't sound like they're going to cancel the international flight, no matter how bad it is. And the way they explained it, the reports I was listening to today, is because the international flights are the long hubs. They're the ones that they're the longer flights. They make more money off the international flights because they're longer, and so forth. And those are the international flights are main priority. Long haul flights are the second priority. It's the smaller airports. Like the way the guy I was listening to, he was talking about they're flying from somewhere in Michigan. That's where a lot of those flights are going to get canceled or whatever. So I don't think I'll have a problem. So yes, I'm going over to the Philippines, leaving here on the 29th. But like I said, I'm not going back to the ways of the world. I'm sitting on the right side of God the Father now, explained in the 6th book. I have been sitting on the right side of God the Father since I walked out into the wilderness. That's when I went back into the Garden of Eden. I'm not going to show it. I was thinking about doing that. Maybe I'll do a video on that. Here we go. Here's a comment I would like you all to make. As I've been telling you, the King James Bible is not a history book. And it's not. Alright, do you want me to do a video? I'm asking you, and I'm only going to do it if I get some replies on this. Because I'm getting tired of making videos. So, and we're already 51 minutes into this video. I'm going to say this now because 99.9% chance, I think I might have one subscriber that might make it this far into the video. So I'm going to go ahead and ask this now. I would like to know if you all would like me to show you where the covenant or the ark of God is. Because I can distinctively show you where the scriptures tell you exactly where it is. And I'll guarantee you, it's not where you think it might be. I don't remember if I even showed that in one of the books. Yeah, I think I did. I think I showed it in the 8th book. But I want to know. Do you all want to know where the Ark of God is? So anyway, and if you tell me yes, I'll make a video on it. Instead of going in tonight. Now, as I told you all, back in 2011, I told the Father, spiritually, I'm going to go through this with you. I've been going through all this with you. Y'all been rejecting me for so long, I'm ready for him to just take me out of this world. Okay? I was going to come bring up this spots in Hosea, because I was listening to the Bible again today, and then I listened to this in Hosea, and I was going through this rough patch, and then, I heard this, and it's like, people won't listen to my videos. People won't, I don't know per se of how many people are actually reading the book, because I don't know how many people are actually going to the website. I can't track how many times the books have been downloaded, and I sure as heck can't track to see even if you do download the books, if you're actually trying to read it or listen to it. I don't know. Okay? But from on my perspective, I've been doing this for 15 years, and there's nobody willing to give up even half of what I gave up to go through what I've been going through with the Father. Ain't nobody giving up their birth. That was part of, I'll go ahead and say this about Judas. Alright, that was one of the things that she had told me. She had told me, part of the betrayal, that she had stopped celebrating birthdays and holidays because of me. And to me, I latched onto that because I thought she was the first person that actually started believing in me and what I teach about and so forth. Well, when this betrayal all came to light, I found out she never quit doing that. It was all just a lie. And I mean, she milked that lie to a T. She would even call me or email me and tell me how sad she was because she wasn't taking her daughter out to celebrate her birthday. She even went as far as to tell me she didn't have any social media accounts because she didn't want her ex's or her daughter's dad to find out where she was. Because supposedly, this was a lie too, he used to abuse her, keep her locked in a room for 3 or 4 days. I mean, she milked this down to a T. I mean, everything I thought about her was she was a battered woman hiding from her ex, keeping her daughter in safety, and she was struggling to make ends meet. And I fell for it hard and heavy. All of it was a lie. Every bit of it. No, she's not with her daughter's dad, but her daughter's dad never abused her like she made it out to be. It was all part of the ploy, just to make me think, oh, she played me good. Thought, okay, maybe she did it because I know she did it because the father was making her do it. And that's how the ploy worked out so good, because the father was telling her how to do it. Jeremiah 42:6, they tell Jeremiah, remember, it's a lesson book. Jeremiah 42:6, they tell Jeremiah, you tell God will do whatever he commands of us, whether it be good or evil, so that it'll be well with God. So if she was supposed to do that, so be it. Forgiven. It's done, but it still hurts. And if she was doing what she was supposed to do, then it'll be well with God. If she did wrong, it's up to the Father to judge her, to condemn her. I'm not going to judge or condemn her. I'm not going to give her any more money. I'm not going to talk to her anymore. Yes, I say in the 9th book, when I go back over there, if I was to see her in the street, I'll say, hi, how you doing? Yes, I do love her. But I have forgiven her, but I haven't forgotten. And I won't be used again. I will not be suckered into that again. No ifs, ands, or buts. In fact, since that happened, I'm not giving any amount, so I don't think I'll get any trouble for this. But since that happened, until when the betrayal became light to me, I've gotten to be a little more stingy with my money. All through the years, I've been pretty nice with it. But it was September 5th when it came to light that everything she had been telling me was a lie. And it was just 2 or 3 days later, everything come to light about how my daughter doesn't love me enough to actually go through life with me, even though I've been going through life with her. And I'm not giving you all the details. You really have to read the 9th book you have to read the 8th book in order to understand the 9th book, but you have to read the 7th book in order to understand and y'all rejected me for so long, I don't think anybody's ever going to read the books. That's how I feel. I think I wasted the last 15 years of my life for me, so I can understand the Father. Y'all rejected me so long, I'm numb to it anymore. I don't think anybody's going to rise with me. I don't care if anybody rises with me. I would not be unhappy if the Father was to strike me dead tonight. I think that's actually what I'm going to show after we talk about this. We're going to talk about Hosea, about knowledge of God. And I was actually going to do a separate screen for each one of these, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to show all of these right here. Hosea 1, Hosea 4:1. Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel, for the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, no mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land. My people, Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. That thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. Hosea 6:6, for I desired mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. When I was listening to this, when I heard this, when I was listening to the Bible today, and it's just like, Father, and I know I'm sitting on his right side, we are one. And with me going over to the Philippines, and now I'm not really understanding yet on how this is going to work out with me being on a boat with a bunch of people that don't even speak the same language. Good chance of it. Don't even speak the same language as me. That's why I'm trying to learn Cebuano, but what if they don't speak Cebuano? Maybe they speak Tagalog. Tagalog and Cebuano are different. It's just like, to me, it's almost going to be worse over there than it is here. I'm sick of being rejected. I'm sick and tired of you all don't giving a darn. I'm tired of it. Okay, you don't. All right, fine. Die. I don't care. Let me go. Just take me up. Let me be the only one saved. Just as Noah, Job, and Daniel. As the scriptures teach. They only saved their own souls. Okay, fine. Let me go. Get me out of here. Because you all don't want to learn. You don't want the knowledge of the Father. On how brilliant He is. How excellent. How magnificently He has done all this. That's what these books do. They give you all an understanding of who He is, what He's doing, why He's doing what He's doing. But you all don't want to learn that because it would be inconvenient for you. You might have to alter some things in your life. You might have to make some differences in your life. That's not loving God. That's not loving Jesus. And that's definitely not loving one another. You can't love your neighbor as yourself if it focuses on you. You can't say, and I won't show it where it states in the scriptures, but it actually teaches how we are supposed to care more for the things of others than for ourselves. How can you do that if you're not willing to let go of yourself? Remember, we are to take up our cross. How can you take up your cross and follow me? You carry the same cross I carry. Right here. We all carry the same cross. How are you going to take up your cross and follow me when you refuse to do what I say to do? You have to learn about the Father. You don't got time to listen to the Bible 150 times like I have, to learn everything that I have, but you do have free books for you at my website at your disposal. And when the 9th book is done, it will be on here just the same. Oh yeah, I was going to say that earlier. I don't think I did. I got distracted. My mind runs wild all the time, okay? The name of this book is The Life and Betrayal of Jesus. Written by Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. I'm done writing. That's why I think the days will be cut short for the elect's sake. Because I'm at the point. Take me out. I don't care if anybody rises. I would not care if every person on the planet, including myself, I want to go first. And in the books I say, let me be the last one. Not anymore. Y'all don't care. I want to go first. I don't care if you rise or not. I'm sick of it. 19 minutes on an hour average out of 4 views on the video. 19 minutes. Whoopie-doo. You all ain't listen because it would inconvenience you. Judas always told me I need to make all these short videos because people don't have the attention span. If you know what, we've devoted every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every week of every month of for the last 15 years of my life to the Father and learning everything that I have learned so that I can bring it to you all in the books. But you all can't even sit through a 10 or 15 minute video. You love no one but yourself. And I already told you in Matthew 7. You all have done this to me for so long. Now it's my turn to do that to you all. As far as I'm concerned, I'm done. I'm done with this world. No love for one another. No love for God the Father. No love for Jesus. That's where we was at in Hosea. Now, we're showing this. I think it's the last thing we're going to talk about. Luke 14. Yeah, it says this in a couple other spots. But not as... Yeah, one other spot I actually think. But Luke 14, verse 26. If any man come to me and hate not his father, and mother, and wife, and children, and brethren, and sisters, yeah, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. So yeah, you hear, me, I've been on a rant and a rave through this video, and it hasn't been that pleasant. I agree. And I talk about this in the book. Yeah, I've got it down to a pat. I hate my life. I've got every reason to hate my life. And unless you start hating your life, stay away from me. Because you love the ways of this world. You love the ways of man. You love the ways of Satan. Because that is, we are living in Satan's world, Satan's kingdom. We're told not to love the ways of this world, not to love the things of this world. We're not told to celebrate birthdays or holidays, but yet so many people do. We're told specifically not to eat the unclean. But yet everybody does. Because they don't give any regard to the Father or Jesus. And it would be an inconvenience for them to do that instead of living the life they want to live. That's not love for others, that's not love for God the Father, and that's not a love for Jesus. Share this video if you're still here. Give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down, I don't care. Only 9 chances out of 10, you probably not watch this, you're not even here at the end of this video. Trying to think of some way I could actually do I wonder, alright, if you made it to the end of this video, I'm going to say there's a possibility that you actually watched some of my other videos. And maybe there's a possibility you're reading the books. I guarantee, I won't guarantee, I'm going to say I almost guarantee. Here's what I want. If you've made it this far in the video, I want you to put in 777 in the comments. I don't think it'll happen. But share it. Share this video. I prefer you to give it a thumbs up, thumbs down. If you give it a thumbs up, the algorithm or something with YouTube gets it sped out. I don't know, guys. I'm hoping that I'm in a little bit of a better mood tomorrow. I already feel a little bit better because, you see, I'm out here, it's just me and the Father in this truck. And I go through this emotional roller coaster all the time. So just being able to, even though maybe you're all probably not going to watch this video, just being able to get to feel like maybe someone's going to hear me, I think it does make me feel a little better because I'm in a lot better mood than I was when I started this video. So maybe just getting out here and letting me feel like I'm letting the world know how I feel, even though nobody's watching these videos, it does kind of make me feel like, you know what? I'm at least giving them my peace of mind. You know how it is when you get mad at someone and you just got to give them your peace of mind or whatever. Remember, we are in hell. We are in hell. Things burn. Oh, and that's what I've been going through. Is I've been going through a flame. So maybe me doing this video just kind of made things a little bit better for me. Maybe. I don't know. I'm hoping, what I'm really hoping for is to see several views on these videos. Because that will encourage me to make more. Once I go to the Philippines, I don't know if I'm going to be making videos when I get over there. I don't know. I know the scriptures talk about seek the Lord when you can, while he can be found. You know, if things get really nasty come December 1st, or right around that date, you're going to find out what it means that Satan's going to be loose for a while. Satan's inside of everybody. Everybody's going to be out trying to do whatever they can to survive. Killing others, beating others up, robbing others, stabbing others, ravishing women, the whole shooting caboodle. It's going to get really nasty. You're not going to be able to find God in that situation because you're going to be panicking. Anyway, all right, guys. I could go on another lesson on that. I think I've made this long enough, longer than I should have. So we're going to call it quits. Like I said, if you made it this far, put a 777 in the comments. I appreciate you if you sat through this video and just let me rant. Thanks a lot.